Hey guys, welcome to Game 3 between NewOcean and Yuey, and this has been a fantastic match thus far. Really, when I save, I try to save the highest bracket for last, the people that are 2-0 or 3-0, I guess, as we're going to move into Group 3. The people who have more wins than losses. And these two have really shown us some fun games. Upper left hand corner, we got Yuey starting as the blue Zerg. Bottom left hand corner, we have NewOcean starting as the teal Protoss. We'll see if NewOcean opts for 2-gate once again. We'll also have to see if Yuey, on a 3-player map, decides to go overpool, which has been the standard Zerg thing, or if he's going to go for 9-hatch or something along those lines. I do think that the adjustment to opting for 9-12, just throwing something other than overpool, has put a little bit of a wrench in NewOcean's adjustment to 2-gate openers. I don't know, it just seems to have fared a little bit well. I'm not going to get into the deep specifics of ZVZ or ZVP because I'm not sure I'd be qualified to comment on the early game aspects of the minute aspects of the build. I feel like 9-pool is one of those things where 9-pool you can end up running people over, and then 9-hatch you end up getting that additional larva where you can kind of have that transition macro game. How do I put, actually, now I am commenting on it. 9-pool feels like a dagger fight. Overpool feels like you're just a step behind and having to really play catch up. And then the other pools past that, as long as it's not 12-hatch, once you start hitting 12-hatch, that's when I feel like you're back in Danger Town. It looks like NewOcean, by the way, is setting up for another double gate. This is going to be on Dominator, by the way, adjustment on Gladiator with the pizza slices. And this could actually also create some interesting interaction depending on any open map melee units where numbers could potentially be disguised. That might give a slight advantage to Yuey depending on Overlord placements downfield. And it looks like we are seeing another 9-hatch opener for Yuey. I believe that was 9-hatch rather than 12-hatch. Didn't play, or other hatch didn't play close enough attention. I do believe that was a 9-hatch, in fact. And I think and I do think this is a pretty good response to the double gate opener. Usually you'll see Zerg players opting to do this against the initial single gateway, but against the double gateway, I feel like it ends up playing very well as well. Mostly because if you're getting caught on anything in between, oftentimes a problem is again sufficient larva. Yuey spotting the Overlord. Unfortunately, this also, well, it was a 3-player map, so the position was going to be given away regardless, but giving NewOcean a direct target instead of he knew he had the probe there regardless. Going to go ahead and make his way out to the natural expansion. What I do want to comment on is this could be more challenging than Yuey, simply because, based on map structure, simply because of this ramp location. So Yuey is going to have to be more aggressive with the Zergling engagements and make sure that the Zealots are not able to engage on that inverted ramp. Once you get positioned on that inverted ramp, it can be very difficult to push back out. A couple drones pulling off the line. I believe these aren't just here to mess with the probe. I think they are in fact going to be there to be forward fighters. We already see a creep colony getting dropped. That Zealot already mixing it up against the other. And we actually 2 probes pulled as the additional Zealots stream across. We do have 6 Zerglings being queued up, some additional drones pulling off the line. I do believe that is necessary in this instance. The creep colony has been heavily damaged. I think it's getting over damaged here. I'm actually surprised that Yuey is opting to still morph that instead of just leaving it right this second. The Zerglings able to wipe out a probe, and the Zealots are pushed back. More Zerglings in production. We're going to see straight Zergling production. So the Sunken Colony finishes, but it's got 2 health, which means it can get sneezed on like that. Another drone has been picked off. Drone count actually pretty solid compared economically, and the drone's doing some real work here. 2 Zealots left on the forward field, and this is plenty of Zerglings if they can get the surface area. The drone actually working against surface area. Another creep colony being redropped. 3rd Zealot rejoining, and the Zealots are not halting as they're making the way across the field. Good spread by Yuey, though, with those Zerglings, and that's exactly what he needs to do to keep this, what I want to call it, festive. Actually canceling the Sunken Colony in the midst of that. We still do have 2 Zealots making the way across, but recognizing that he's going to be able to outproduce Zerglings. Good spread again. Oh man, a lot of free damage on that Southern Zealot. And now NewOcean has to worry about the counterattack. Might want to back up. Is he going to hold? Yeah, he needs to back up and start plugging up these gaps. We do have 2 Overlords on the front. Looks like he's going to stage back. This is again that aspect of Dominator where lack of vision can be sneaky, and it can be problematic both directions. Another slew of free damage on a Zealot, finally turning, and a good surround. It looks like Yuey is, wow, wiped out 2 Zealots simultaneously there. bad trades from NewOcean here. He's gotten maybe a swipe or two on some of these. They're getting a little bit better of a trade, but in retreat against swarms of Zerglings, honestly, I feel like he should have pulled out of this much earlier. Yuey is going to ignore that Zealot, recognizing that it's heavily weakened, and he's still got 4 Zerglings at home, is charging to the front. We got no Forge, and we do not have sufficient Zealots to plug this gap. And even if there is sufficient Zealots to potentially plug this gap, this is going to be a hard fight across the front. So well, the Zerglings stream right back across. We do have a 3rd hatchery, by the way, interior to the base to open up that larva. The Zealots able to push, but he's actually, I'm surprised Yuey didn't go for a run by in the midst of that. I guess he would have been chased back by a lot of Zealots, I should say. The Zerglings going for more surround. They're taking a little bit of more damage than they potentially wanted to. Oftentimes, free damage for Zealots is a little bit less concerning until you start getting into that shield, because you can always pop out, and as long as you have more troops behind, you can kind of push them back. But Zerglings a little bit more fragile, so the free hits on them oftentimes result in dead Zerglings. More Zerglings streaming their way across. Zergling speed also being upgraded. A second pylon getting dropped on the front. Do we have any tech? We've got finally a Forge being dropped in the main. That is, I think that is an intelligent location for NewOcean to drop it, recognizing that this is going to be a hard hold on the front. And again, you can see the lack of vision can be a bit, it could be a bit of trouble here for NewOcean, where the Overlord is able to see the Zealot numbers as they're produced, but he doesn't have a really good eye on the Zergling count as it's starting to, so basically we've got a huge amount of Zerglings out in the field, but NewOcean doesn't recognize that. I will say economically, if Yuey is going to switch things around, which it doesn't look like he's going to, I think he's just going to go for the float off Zergling speed, actually supply captain himself right this second, so might want to engage in a fight sooner rather than later. It's going to be hard to transition out of this because we actually have a pretty sizable economy out here for NewOcean. Zergling's getting good spread. Some of them, I like the trail around to get the full spread on these Zealots. And this is going to be a lot of Zerglings left over, and only 2 running their way across. These 2 are trying to draw the rest of the Zealots away, but honestly, it doesn't look like Yuey's going to fall for it. So now we got a full breach situation, potentially, and not a cannon down on the front as of yet. Zerglings trying to make their way across. They're just going to take out that Zealot on the front. Working on the gateway, the cannon not yet up. Zerglings going all the way across. Some of them are, in fact, on top of the cannon. All of the Zealots are gone. Nice little engagement there from NewOcean, but the photon cannon is not going to be an issue. That's going to be GG. Great play from Yuey. Able to get it done with just Zerglings. And I got to say, this is really... it almost plays like ZVZ when you have the 2 gate openers, but Yuey's going to advance. I also want to note for both these guys, I do believe that it was they gave each other the first loss of the tournament up to this stage, but I will not be shocked to see these guys in the semifinal or the final down the line. They're playing fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.